Hello students, today we discuss the next question in your syllabus, that is give an account of EMP pathways or what is glycolysis, give its systematic representation, or what is common pathway for aerobic and anaerobic respiration, or give the various steps involved in it, or describe the process in which glucose is converted into the pyruvic acid. As I have already discussed with you the respiration process which takes place in the three steps: glycolysis, Krebs cycle, and ETS cycle. So this is the first steps of the respiration process. In that, or which is the first step, which is also called as the glycolysis. So glycolysis is an enzymatic process in which the one glucose that is in six which contains the six carbon molecules is broken down into the two molecules of pyruvic acid, which is in which contains the three carbons atom. The reactions were studied by the scientists Embedded, Meyerhoff, and Pernas. That's why this glycolysis process is also called as EMP pathway, that is the initials of the scientist. So, in glycolysis or EMP pathway involves the following steps. Let's discuss the actual process or steps involved in glycolysis. So, in first step, as you know, this respiration is nothing but the breakdown of the glucose molecule into the ATP molecule. So, in first step, glucose molecule, the formula of glucose, that is C6H12O6, which contains the 6 carbons atom. So, this glucose molecule is phosphorylated to form the glucose 6 phosphate by using the 1 ATP, and these reactions will be takes place in the presence of the enzyme kinase. So in that, this is the first step. In second step, what's happened, this glucose 6 molecule or glucose 6 phosphate is changed into the fructose 6 phosphate in the presence of enzyme isomerase. Then this fructose 6 phosphate is phosphorylated by 1 ATP to form the 1,6 diphosphate, which is again contains the 6 carbon atom, and these reactions in that reaction the 1 ATP the phosphorylations will be takes place, and in that 1 ATP to form the 1,6 diphosphate in the presence of the enzyme kinase. Then in the fourth steps, again this fructose 6 phosphate is which contains the 6 carbon is break down into the two molecules of 3 carbons, the namely the dihydroxyacetone phosphate, that is DHAP, and 3 phosphoglyceraldehyde. These reactions also takes place in the presence of enzyme aldolysis. Again, in next stage, this dihydroxyacetone phosphate is converted into the 3 phosphoglyceraldehyde in the presence of the enzyme isomerase. Then what's happened in next step, these 3 PGAL, that is 3 phosphoglyceraldehyde, will be changes to 1,3 diphosphoglyceraldehyde. During this process, the hydrogen atom will be removed, and that hydrogen atom is accepted by the NAD. So this NAD is NAD, it forms the NADH2. These reactions will be takes place or will be carried out with the help of enzyme dehydrogenated. Then in next step, this 1,3 diphosphoglyceraldehyde is dephosphorylated to 3 phosphoglyceraldehyde. Again, at the stage, the ATP is generated in the presence of enzyme kinase. After that reactions, these 3-phosphoglyceraldehyde is transferred to 2-phosphoglyceraldehyde. Again, this reaction takes place in the presence of enzyme mutate. So, these 2-phosphoglyceraldehyde is changed to 2-phosphate pyruvate. So, this change will be occur in the presence of enzyme enolysis. So, these two PEP is again dephosphorylated to forms the pyruvic acid, and at that stage again the ATP will be generated in the presence of enzyme kinase. So this all steps will be carried out in the glycolysis. So in glycolysis, the glucose molecules will be converted into the 2 molecules of the pyruvic acid. So in that glycolysis, at first the energy will be gained and then this energy will be released. पहले क्या in first processes these ATP molecules will be gained and then they will be releases the ATP molecules. So you have to see in the last stages, in that 1,3-diphosphoglyceric acids which converted into 3-phosphoglyceric acid, at that stage the energy will be out. मतलब वहाँ पे in that stage the ATP molecules will be released, and at the last stage from 2-phosphoenol pyruvate which converted into 2-pyruvic acid, again the 1 ATP molecules will be released. But at the first stages, that means in conversion of the glucose to glucose 6-phosphate, at that stage the phosphorylation will be takes place. So they having or they loses the 1 ATP molecules. Again in the fructose 6-phosphate to fructose 1,6-diphosphate, in the presence of kinase 1 ATP molecules will be required for this reaction. So in that the in first stages the require ATP molecules, and in the last stages they will be releases that ATP's molecule. So glycolysis process is nothing but the conversion of glucose to the two molecules of the pyruvic acids.